people have had enough of Elon Musk interfering with our country's democracy when he clearly knows nothing about Britain. It's time to summon the US ambassador to ask why an incoming US official has suggested the UK government should be overthrown. To this, Musk replied with the words, "Snivelling cretin." A response I think we can all agree worthy of Oscar Wilde. It is more flamboyant. Well, I think it's only right we should hear from Sir Ed himself, so let's do that now, and first get his reaction to the fruity language Elon Musk directed at him yesterday.
Listen, if you're in politics, you get used to being called all sorts of names, and frankly, in free speech, I'm not too worried about that. What I am worried about is when the world's wealthiest man, who's very close to the president-elect of the United States, puts out tweets saying America should overthrow and liberate our country. That is outrageous, and it's one of the reasons I called for the UK government to call in the US ambassador, make it clear, and the future US ambassador, to make it clear that this is not acceptable.
So this is an entirely serious suggestion. You think that Keir Starmer or David Lammy or both should call in the ambassador and say this has to stop?
Yeah, or indeed even contact President-elect Trump's office directly. He's about, we're told, to appoint Elon Musk to a position in his government. You cannot have officials of a government which is supposed to be one of our closest allies calling for our democratically elected government to be overthrown. I mean, we know...
And ministers to be imprisoned while they're...
Yeah, it is just quite shocking what he's been saying. You know, I've got my disagreements with this government, but they were democratically elected, and the place I saw that is in our country, in our parliament, not being pushed around by an American, whoever they are. And my reading of the British people is they don't like this. There's a large majority who are not that keen on Elon Musk, for starters, let alone President-elect Trump. So I have some faith in the British people. And I think in our democracy, in our parliament, we need to set our British values, which, frankly, are against the stuff that we're hearing. You know, when some individuals, particularly a tiny number of very rich individuals, have too much power, be it in money, be it through government, be it through control of the media, that is offensive to British values. And we, certainly as Liberals, and I'm sure people across the political parties, frankly, want to make sure that these overpowerful people are held to account.
Let me talk about another British political party, the Conservatives, because Robert Jenrick has waded into this debate, saying that we have imported an alien culture with medieval attitudes to Britain, and he's caused a huge amount of offence. But the truth is there have been British Pakistani gangs raping and abusing young girls and women all across this country for some time. There is an element of truth to that, isn't there?
Well, it's true there have been some shocking and appalling crimes committed. And we need to remember the victims and their families. We need to take action to stop it happening and to get justice. I think the remarks by Mr. Jenrick go way beyond that, frankly. And
just explain to me why you think that.
Well, let me just talk about Mr. Jenrick, though. As we've heard today in the media, he was asked about his record as Home Office Minister, where he had responsibility with his colleagues for taking forward 20 recommendations from Professor Alexis Jay, who chaired for 7 years an independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. They failed. The Conservatives and Robert Jenrick himself failed to act on recommendations of an inquiry into tackling child sexual abuse. I'm afraid the Conservatives don't really have much of a voice because of their huge failure to act.
What about the specific allegation that the rule of law in this country was suspended because of fear about community relations?
Well, that would be unacceptable at any stage. That's what I understand part of the inquiry looked into, not just the inquiry chaired by Professor Jay, but a lot of the other inquiries, the telephone inquiry, and so on. And so action has been taken. And one of the things I felt really alarmed about this debate, and you heard it indeed earlier today from Professor Jay herself, is that facts seem to be not involved in this debate. The reality of what has happened, the reality that people are behind bars quite rightly for some of the most appalling crimes. Now, we need to take far more seriously and act far more quickly on all aspects of child sexual abuse, whether these grooming gangs that we've been talking about now, whether in the Church of England, whether anywhere in our society. We have to protect our children. They are the victims of this. We need to stand up, particularly for women and girls.